Yeah, let's get started. Welcome back to the show, the Big R Show. And then today, as you know, is the 4th or the 5th of January 2021. And then compliments of the new season. And I hope that some of you have already reflected on what happened last year. You have seen where things went wrong. And then probably you are hoping to rectify some of the mistakes. And then in terms of finance, it has been very difficult for everybody. We don't want to dwell on that one. We just want to be positive and see how are we going to recover. We are happy that we are still alive. Tonight, it's myself and in Twentle, Jacob Selematsela, and Nostum, Mkhonza. Dala ngamgcina umfoka Mkhonza. Ikhosi elikhulu. And then we are also joined by the former player with Jomo Cosmos, Black Aces, and Mamelodi Sundowns, prominently with Mamelodi Sundowns, the guy who went to World Cup 98, Page Mahlangu. So he'll be analyzing football from a footballer and a coaching perspective. I also have Gole, Tshepang Gole. I hope he hears me. Tshepang, I don't see you. I want to see you. And then I want to hear that you hear me, and then so that we can hear you. Tshepang is a very big Barcelona fan, so he came on that level. So guys, welcome. Jackie, how are you doing? Can you greet?
I'm okay, my brother. Thanks. How are you, man?
All right. And then Mr. Mkhonza, how are you doing?
No, I'm doing fine, Saubrey. I think first let's acknowledge who Page. It's good to get in touch with guys that you actually watched before on TV, and but he can answer late, Prasobri, when he speaks. I always took him as a very shy person who doesn't talk. I don't know whether it was in the field of play where he didn't want to talk much. Let the shoes do the talking or what, but he will comment later.
But I can tell he's a good coach. Ask me. I've known Coach Page for some time. He's a very good coach. Tshepang, are you there, Bafan?
Yes, I'm here, but I'm trying to update
your camera, ne? But it's fine. Yeah, sort it out. But I'm happy that you are here. But you can participate even if you are discussing local football, Bafanas. Mr. Mahlangu, Page, how are you, my brother?
Man, Saubrey ngiyaphila. Ngezwa kini ukuthi niphila kanjani lapho. Thank you for inviting me. Brother Jacob, how are you doing, my brother? Same applies to you. Thanks a lot,
so much, my brother.
Okay.
No, we are going to have you regularly, Page, because we want those brains from a coach perspective and a player perspective. Guys, Jacob, maybe give us the results first. Just give us the results before we start to go into the topic.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tshabalala. Gentlemen, I will give the local results. On the 2nd of January 2021, we had 2 games in the PSL that played.
Yeah.
Mamelodi Sundowns played against Orlando Pirates, and the score there, Mamelodi Sundowns 1, Orlando Pirates 0. And then the second game, it was a game between Maritzburg played against Bloemfontein Celtic, and the score ended up as Maritzburg 2 and Bloemfontein Celtic 1. Those are the 2 fixtures that took place on the 2nd of January. And while I was just updating some few things, I've recognized that there are games that are playing tomorrow as well. There's some features that are scheduled for tomorrow. I will quickly rush into that, and then so that we can be able to move on quickly. We've got a feature between Morocco Swallows as against Cape Town City, which will be starting at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And then Stellenbosch FC will be playing against Chakuma Chamazivandlela. And then Golden Arrows will be playing against the Black Leopards. And lastly, TS Galaxy will be playing against Baroka Football Club. Those are the PSL fixtures and the results that we've got so far locally.
Okay. Now let's start with Kaizer Chiefs. We are not going to spend too much time there, but we'll start with Kaizer Chiefs. Let me ask Page. Page, what do you think what is happening at Kaizer Chiefs? What is the problem?
Saubrey, football, it's a funny game, a very interesting game. When Hunt signed for Kaizer Chiefs, he did not anticipate that there was a ban on signing of players, which is something that is not working well at Chiefs because of, remember, Kevin got his own philosophy, how he play, how he structure his own team. Now he found himself with a crop of players that don't feature anywhere in his philosophy. And that is one problem that is maybe making the team not to be level or balanced in terms of cohesion or aggression or play on how to go forward. Then the second one is players which are not happy. You can see from the face with maybe the philosophy that is new. No one is implementing that very, very, very quicker. Look what is happening to mistake that is done by Kune. Last year he was very brilliant with those distribution on and almost passing player from his own area to the next area, which were all goals. But this year, this season, it's something else. Then that balance of not having a good philosophy in our own team, it can shake you as a coach. Make no mistake, because of you only hope that they will do what you think and they don't come to the party. Remember, Kevin is a coach that believes in using the wing backs that are normally attacking most of the time. He missed this Hlanti boy on the left and they fought Zuma. According to me, he loses a lot of balls, then possession most of the time, that make it difficult to implement the philosophy. And again, when you look at their defense, Kevin normally defend with 5. 3 that are in the central, and then 2 that is one on the right, one on the left, which those players at Chiefs, I don't think they can adapt to that philosophy. Then it's going to be difficult for him to gel. And when you look again how they miss the goals, they normally go forward, but they miss a lot of goals. That is discouraging. Because of if you cannot put the ball into the net as a coach, you become frustrated. Definitely, you need a player that can take those balls and take them into the net. And when you analyze player for player, then all of them they are a missing link in Kaizer Chiefs, according to Kevin Hunt. He will never say that open, but he's just wishing that something can happen, then so that they can be somewhere there in the middle of maybe number 8, number 9, number 10, so that they can uplift this. Then he can sign all those players that he thinks that they can come to the party with his philosophy.
Well, that's the view of Coach Page Mahlangu. Is what he sees. I want to hear your inputs, guys, on what Page has said. Let me start with Tshepang. Tshepang is also a Kaizer Chiefs fan, locally. Tshepang, what do you want to say, what the coach has just said?
No, first things first, good evening. It's a really an honor to be surrounded by such great legends, I could say, in our South African history. So what the coach has also said was he's talking a very valid point, because the guys are actually, I feel like they're not hungry. If such a big coach of his caliber is in such a big team, is coaching such a big team in South Africa, I mean, it would be any player's dream to actually be surrounded by such greatness. So if players don't come to the party, then it becomes a problem. So we can't blame the coach necessarily, because each and every coach comes with their own philosophy. But it's up to the players since you are a professional player, you're a professional. So you can't have any excuses saying that you don't adapt or you can't understand the kind of philosophy a certain coach comes with. Because then for me personally, this is my opinion. You're not regarded as a professional. So you basically not an athlete, a professional athlete, if you would come with such energy, because each and every coach comes with their own philosophy, own tactics. So it's part of. So you need to adapt to the culture, saying that you're a professional player. So I blame the players. I can't blame the coach because the players are not hungry enough. I mean, if the younger guys can come in from development and show hunger, such as there's there's a boy who plays in the middle of the park called Ngobo. Ngobo shows much hunger than compared to the senior players. So why isn't the senior players coming to the party showing their experience? So it clearly proves that the younger guys are actually more hungrier than the senior players, whom we actually recognize as stars. I could say South African stars. So this thing needs a balance, and it raises a lot of question marks, saying to us, how do we view these players? Are they actually good enough to play for the club, or are they actually not good enough to play for the club? So I think this is a question that these players should actually start asking them, and they should start asking themselves if they're actually ready to adapt, and are they ready to actually play under the much pressure that they're in compared to these young boys.
Okay, let me give Ray so that I hear what he says. He says the hunger is a problem. I noted what the coach said, that some players are not happy. You can see facially people like Kune. He was good last year, but all of a sudden, you know. So I want to hear what you think, Stooms, on what the coach has said.
No, thanks. But I think Page has touched on something that we spoke about last year. The politics behind it's actually killing the team, and you will understand the dynamics. Being a former player and also a coach, at one stage I indicated, when we lost the league, I mentioned that at some point as a player, there is something that you can actually point to say, this year, I even mentioned that in the year of COVID, at least we're able to lift the trophy, and that's something that no one can take it away from you. But you could see that they were just politics, and by then it was Mazinho. So you could see the players were not pulling up. But he has just outlined that there's things that are not going on there. Although the coach can't say it, but it's just the politics that we spoke about. But my main gripe will be if Page could comment on that. I believe Hunt is one of the coaches that believes on youngsters or mixing experience and youngsters. And my problem is this current situation at Chiefs, you can't change anything, and they try to appeal, nothing can happen. You've got your assistant who is a development coach as Atazwane, and he understands Chiefs philosophy. Why can't then, as Page was saying, consolidate up until number 10 and then wait for the situation up until you clear it up? Why can't they use the youngsters? At least give them, throw them in the deep, and use few players that are actually willing to give you something, and then wait for that period. At least the youngsters will try and prove yourself to say, we want to be promoted from or cement our place in the first team.
Page, he wanted you to comment on the involvement on the youngsters, and I hear that Tshepang also was mentioning the fact that the youngsters should be brought on board. You have been a coach, I know that you coached. Tell me, what is the pressure sometimes as a coach? You find yourself being tempted to use youngsters, but at the same time, you feel that, you know what, I'll lose the game if I use their youngsters. So what's your take? What's happening? What do you think? What does Gavin Hunt think now?
Saubrey, it was good for them to bring Arthur Zwane as an assistant coach.
Yes.
But it was also contradicting with what Gavin Hunt wanted. Gavin Hunt wanted to come in with his own assistant coach, which I think they deny him that opportunity. Then the other factor is issue of youngsters. Yes, Gavin Hunt believed in youngsters and bringing in about 4 or 5 that were playing in MTC was going to help. But remember, when you bring in youngsters, you must also mix them with experienced players. But not the current crop that is there at Kaizer Chiefs. I don't think they can match well with those youngsters. Unless he brings in maybe 2 or 3 players from vets that he was having. I think they were going to match in very well because of if I look at the squad of Kaizer Chiefs, the youngster there, it might be this Mashian boy, Happy Mashian, and you look at the other one, might be Siposa Kendia, it might be Darren Maseke. We are looking at Ref Frosler. Then you are looking at Jabulo Blom. Those are youngsters that are having now as we are speaking in. And then Karen Bakas, those are the youngsters. Yagin Sassman, those are the youngsters. But if you bring in, remember all these youngsters, they are not experienced. They did not even play maybe 60 to 50 games last year or since they came in. All of them, they are under 60 games. Then if you mix them with the one that are from development, then surely they should do something. Remember also the reputation of a coach. He doesn't want to lose that and say, let me put my head on the block and play this youngster. We don't know what the condition of the contract is saying. Maybe it says if you lose 7 or 8 games or 14 games in a year, we are not going to renew, you are going out. Then he's also protecting that. He's hoping that maybe this old guard, they're going to bring in something that can be able to sustain. But I think he is looking at that also, that I need to bring in this youngster so that they can be able to give a good balance. Then if we can compare the situation of them not being banned, I think half of the team was going to be on transfer, this team's Kaizer Chiefs squad, because surely he was going to bring in a lot of youngsters, and those 34, 30, they were going to be put on transfer. We were going to see a very transformed Kaizer Chiefs. Then they deny that opportunity. But look at how they're going to play there in Angola. I think they're gonna use 3 to 4 youngsters in order to boost them their confidence, so that when they come and play the next game, at least that also work for them. Because of their next game, I think it should be Maritzburg. Then their next game is Maritzburg, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. I'm gonna do this, Jakey. We are not yet done. Page has mentioned something very, very important. Remember, this guy has played, with a lot of coaches. One of his coaches was Jomoson at some point, long time ago, even at Bafana Bafana. So he knows what is happening within the coaching fraternity. He has mentioned something very important, that we don't know what his contract entails. So probably he might be protecting his contract, all right? We are not privy to that. And then, but we'll see. So I want to warn you guys that we may take a small break, then I'll come back again, because I still want us to discuss Pirates and then and move on. Now, Jakey, from your perspective, you said, I know that you were very much concerned about issue of Nokovic. What is the situation now of Nokovic? And a Page, we have mentioned something very important, losing balls. Losing balls. I want us to talk about that, but we'll talk about that when we come back. Because when the players lose balls, you know, that's where many teams are being killed and also causing unnecessary dead balls. It becomes a problem. Jackie, let's go to this one of Nokovic. What is the latest?
Right. The latest is that Nokovic has gone with the team to Angola, and then chances are that he might play tomorrow. With the contract issue, it has been completed, and they've agreed, and then they've extended his contract by another year, which means he's got a 4-year contract with Kaizer Chiefs. So we're hoping that tomorrow he will be able to play if he's been given that opportunity. But if I was a coach, I would definitely play him because we need somebody who will be able to score goals. And then just to twist a little bit on what Coach Mahlangu has just mentioned earlier on, he spoke about, I mean, the body language, the hunger, and then the proper players. Definitely, I would like to agree with you, Coach. I mean, the coach, which is Gavin Hunt, can come up with all these strategic plans in any way, but the problem there is that senior players are holding the team at ransom as we speak right now. I mean, if you look at Kune, I'm really surprised. All of a sudden, Kune is doing whatever that he's doing, and then another update on Kune. Kune was dumped. He hasn't gone to Angola. We've got only Bavuma as well as Akpay who have gone to play in Angola. So all these other comments that Kune is saying, remember that his contract is coming to an end in 6 months' time, and then he might sign for another team. I think it's about time. They must just release Mr. Kune to go to another team, because really, right now, we need players who will be able to commit to Kaizer Chiefs, and then we need players who will be able to deliver the goods. We don't need players who will be able to sabotage the team. Definitely, Coach Mahlangu, I agree with you. Your analysis is 100% spot on, my brother.
While we are still there, Coach, you mentioned that, you know, player like, is it Zuma, they lose balls most of the time. And I've seen even in Europe, a lot of teams, when they lose balls, they're buried. Now, you have played with Jomo Sono. I know that Jomo Sono, and you're a defender. I know that Jomo Sono would always encourage that when a guy is going closer to the 18, you'll tell me, you must take him. It's either you take him or you take the ball. But that would cause dead balls. And for me, that's what was a downfall for Cosmos. And then on that one, what's your take? This thing of causing unnecessary dead balls. Because now most players, they specialize on how to kick free kick.
No, so there is this philosophy of you winning the ball clean in order for you to reverse from defense to attack, and which most players don't have that skill of stealing the ball from a striker. Hence, you see all of them, they normally go with the tackles. They kick the ball out. They don't hold the ball in order to be advantage for them to start a break attack immediately from their own half, which they create a lot of those dead balls, and they don't even check whether their own defense, they can be able to prevent anything that is coming from all those dead balls. If you can look at Man City the way they play, you look at Liverpool the way they play, those are the foreign teams. We don't follow them, but we learn something from them. That you don't need to concede a lot of dead balls in that area. You need only to steal the ball and give to your own player, then you reverse from defense to attack. Which surely I believe that aspect is not being trained properly in our own leagues and in our own country. You only get few players who can manage to do that. You can look at Sudan.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. The way he's so reckless with the tackles, he's so reckless, and it doesn't say anything wrong with that. Because of what? He was not trained how to steal the ball, and in most of those tackles that he made, you will find that if you can try and measure the speed of the ball, you will find that he was going to arrive first and take that ball without any tackle. Then that's how players are being trained. Then is our weakness that we are having as a country. These are not the only few players that I'm counting. There are plenty of them. But if they can start to train them, and which is element that is lacking in our own football. And when we check even all those defenders that we are having as a country, they've got that element of committing those, I call them maybe schoolboy errors, because of, to me, it's just easy. Even Matoho is even the same. We all do that. Then that make them to create a lot of those dead balls, and only to find that it's not easy for them to defend them. Even if you can look at that game of Pirates against Sundowns, the same thing happened. It was a dead ball, then they couldn't defend it well. Then it ended up being a goal. Then what can you say? They cannot do that. They don't have that ability to defend all those dead balls.
Let me correct myself first. I was saying they say Jomosona. Nah, that's a rumor. That's not what, I don't know whether that's what he says. You can tell me, you worked with him. This is what we are being told, that he encourages, it's either you take the ball or you take the man. So I'm not sure. You can confirm, you worked with him. Is it true? Does he encourage people to either take the ball or the man?
Definitely was encouraging that, because of maybe he believed in hard tacklers more than any intelligent defender. He could say, kick this boy is giving us trouble. Then he said, no, you kick him once, it's not going to come. And exactly it happened. Then he was encouraging players to do that.
Because as far as I'm concerned, I think that was a downfall of Cosmos, you know. Remember, I'm a Cosmos fan. That's what I saw, what killed them. You know, they would always have a lot of dead balls, and they would bury them with dead balls. So I don't know, you know, I always see, currently I see Barcelona, they're also reckless. They make a lot of dead balls, you know, whether corner or free kick, and then they kill them. They kill them. So now, in the coaching fraternity, one coach does everything, or you have one coach concentrate on defenders, one coach on goalkeepers. Welcome back to part 2 of the Big R Solutions sports program. Like I indicated, that I'm joined by Page Mahlangu, the former Mamelodi Sundowns player, Black Aces, and also Jomo Cosmon, together with Bafana Bafana. And then also with my co-host, Jacob Selematsela, together with Roy. And we are also joined by Tshepang, who's a Barcelona fan and also a Kaizer Chiefs fan locally, and Sipho Mncube, who's a Kaizer Chiefs fan. He has been struggling to log on. Izinto ezintsha lezi Sipho ziyahlupha, into ezihlungu, but next time uzosmastara very soon. All right, let's get going. As I was saying, you know, the issue of dead ball, Page has mentioned something very, very important. This thing of losing balls, and this thing of the players are not happy. And I'm happy that Jackie has also saw something that Gune, is it a rumor, or have you seen something about that he wants to leave?
Well, it's still a rumor at the moment.
The rumor. Okay.
It's still a rumor, yes.
So there is no smoke.
There's about 5 players.
5 players.
There's about 5 senior players who are in that same situation of signing pre-contracts with other teams. There's about 5 of them, including Kama Billiard.
Okay. No, I mean, to be on a pre-contract does not mean that they're not happy. All right. So maybe they're at that situation, but that does mean they're not happy. But what Page said, that if you look at the body language, can see that some of them are not happy. And then, but now, guys, let me ask, what do you think? What's going to happen for Kaizer Chiefs to turn it around, Page? Let me go back to you. For Kaizer Chiefs to turn it around, or I can see that Roy has raised his hands. Maybe I need to go to Roy first. For Kaizer Chiefs to turn it around, what should they do, Roy?
No, so before we talk about what Chiefs need to do,
Yeah.
I think Page spoke about if Hunt had his own philosophy, and the situation was actually allowing what he was going to bring to the team. So I want to ask her. I want to answer what Jacob is saying in terms of. You see, the future is whether Kune wants to leave, and if he leaves, where does he go? Where does he? Because he's on retirement. Where does he go? So he has got no choice. The only thing that we could talk to is him finishing his career at Chiefs, because I'm telling you, remember there is up young coming goalkeepers, and with whether these mistakes he has been doing are legitimate or because of the unhappiness, but we know what kind of a player he is. So I just wanted to comment on that, that at least the problems that we see at Chiefs currently, whatever the players want, whatever the coach wants, there's no solution up until the process opens up itself and allow the coach to actually put his vision based on the contract that is given as Page outlined. Otherwise, whosoever wants to leave, and I'm telling you, all those old croaks, let me just give an analysis of what Page gave. I said it last time. If you look at Cardoso, you look at Matojo, now you look at Klachwai, actually all the black liners are Chiefs. And now the Pirates players are also taking on. The silly mistakes that they are doing at the back, you can't explain them at that level. So it just tells you of how mentally and preparedness all these teams are in terms of maturity in those players. Those are players that you need actually to guide the young ones, give direction. But if they do such elementary mistakes, it's a mess. And I want to respond to what Jacob is saying. With those old croaks, there is no future for them in other teams. Actually, if they mess what they have now, it's unfortunate. It's retirement, and it will be whatever good they had. It's going to be a bad if they retire the way they are actually playing now.
Ngathi ukwatile because uzumbiza uhlatshwayo lapha ku-Chiefs. It's fine. And let's welcome Sipho. Sipho is a very staunch Kaizer Chiefs fan. Sipho, I can see Guti Manje. I can be able to hear you. I want you to unmute yourself, and then let's hear when we want kanjani futhi. Uyezwa bathi Ukune now, retirement stage. I don't know. What's your take, Sipho?
Yeah.
Sipho? All right. Sipho, I think there's still a problem with the mic. And now, Roy, you were asking who, Pager or Jackie, or you were just adding on what Jackie said? All right, Sipho, I can hear you now. All right, Sipho, I think where you are, the network is a bit of a challenge. All right. Now let's move on. Now let's move on to the game of Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns. Pager, you played for Mamelodi Sundowns. what's your take of Mamelodi Sundowns? You know, somebody said Mamelodi Sundowns has dominated the local football. There's a guy who's a staunch Mamelodi Sundowns fan who's down in Mamelodi. One day I'll hook him up. He's got a lot of good statistics around Mamelodi Sundowns since from when they were started. So, Pager, what's your take? What's your take of Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates? Or start with Mamelodi Sundowns if you want to start with Mamelodi Sundowns as a team.
Saubrey, the Sundowns is on high now. If you check last season how they started very low, and they progress as the league progress. But if you watch them this year, they started from game number 2. They were better. Then if you check the criticism that they said he support how many players, around 20 or 15 players that he brought them in. And if you look at those players now, they are really showing another mental strength that is out of this world. The Tshabalala, I never thought that player is going to make it at Sundowns, but he's proving people wrong, also myself wrong, that he can also play if it comes to play. And there is one mistake that these teams they are doing when they play Sundowns. They want to match them how they play, and they are not going to be able to do that. And you cannot predict who's going to be fielded in because of they've got a very big squad. And once they give a jersey, they fight for that jersey. No one wants to lose. That's what I see what they're doing now, and they're still going to dominate. I'm telling you, they're still going to dominate. As long as the Kaizer Chiefs, they're still fast asleep. The Pirates is trying to come on party. Then they are consistent in terms of scoring, in terms of defending. Then there is no chance for them to catch them. It's going to happen exactly what happened to Chiefs last year, whereby they will miss the league in the last remaining 2 games. But if you check them, if they can lead by 6 points, I'm telling you, they'll never catch them. They'll never catch them.
All right.
Then
let's look at the game against Pirates. What was your take on that game?
No, it was a very balanced game because of Roy mentioned that Pirates was fast asleep or it was not dominating. Pirates make a lot of chances there, but they did not convert them because of Onyango was very brilliant. Also, when you look at the goals that Sundowns they missed, there were quite many, and if they were scoring, I think the score was supposed to be 6-4 or 7-4 if they were scoring because of they created many chances. That tells you that they are really trying themselves. Their Pirates, it's not giving them all say no, just go and beat us. They were trying. They were also attacking. There was a 20 minutes by Pirates was almost there. Onyango saved them. There is another chance in the 84 minutes whereby they failed to control the ball. To me, that was a goal because of if a player cannot control the ball and just trap the ball inside the 6th area, then it tells you that maybe he was already saying, I've scored this goal, but only to find that it was not.
Okay. Anyone who wants to take it up on where Page has left? Jackie, you haven't said much.
I would agree with Mr. Mahlangu that the game was fairly balanced. But in terms of attacking, especially in the second half, Sundowns had so many chances which they couldn't convert. I think the goalkeeper, Onyango, he played very well. He saved Sundowns against Pirates there. The problem there, what I've realized with Pirates, especially in the defense, there was no communication. There was no structure. If you can ask me now to rate the players out of 10, Starting with the goalkeeper, I'll give him 5 out of 10. He played very well. But if you look at Hlachwayo, I mean, the goalkeeper of Orlando Pirates, and then if you look at Hlachwayo himself, the captain, I mean, his performance was below par. I'll give him 3 out of 10. And if you look at a player like Zukumanja, I'll give him 4 out of 10. Notch, I'll give him 6 out of 10. And if you look at Nyauza, he was fighting, he was there through thick and thin. I'll give him 6 out of 10. Out of all these players, only those two players, I'll give them 6 out of 10. There was no structure. I think the coach might not have emphasized his tactics correctly to the team, because the team was not playing according to the way we know them. Orlando Pirates, we know when it comes to counter-attack, they counter-attack you, from there they score goals. But this time it was not happening. But what I like also to mention about Sundowns, the combination. Sundowns is a well-oiled machine. If you look at the combination of Peter Chalulile as well as Erasmus, it's deadly. And Mshishi as well. It's a deadly kind of a combination. Those guys.
All right. Roy, I see that you have raised your hands. Tshepang, I haven't forgotten you. I know that you are a Chiefs fan, but I want you to hear what you say about Sundowns and Pirates.
Mine will be very short. I want to just to echo what Jacob and Page has said. You see, once you go and play teams like Sundowns, where you've got no structure, they will rip you. So what I saw on that game, I'm not sure. I was saying to Jackie, because Pirates didn't go there with the structure. I'm not sure, but it actually summarizes what Page is saying. If you cannot plan on these guys, I said last time, for an example, if you've got the players that I have now, with Lile making any runs. So if you've got no structure and you don't go there planned for how you're going to actually attend to situations, they are going to mess you up. And that's what Pirates were exposed on that day.
Sipo, I can see that I can hear you now. I haven't forgotten Tshepang. Sipo, what's your take? No, Sipo, I think the line is bad. Ne? Sipo, I'll talk to you. No, I think the line is bad for Sipo. We'll arrange that we hook up with him. It's going to disrupt the whole thing. Tshepang, what's your take? I know you're a Chiefs fan. You may not be, so much. I don't know whether you'll be fair, or I know Chiefs fans, they don't like Sundowns, and whether you like Pirates, I don't know. Let me hear what you say.
I'll be fair, and I'll be short and brief, actually.
Yeah.
I just want to add on based on what Mr. Mahlangu has just said. You can't. A team like Sundowns have already built a structure for the past, I could say 6 years. So for the past 3 years, they've actually built something solid. Hence why they've won the ABSA Premiership back to back. So for a team like them, they didn't have the best of games against Pirates, to be honest. But for a team like that to actually come out with 3 points, seeing how Pirates were coming at them, really tells you a lot about Mamelodi Sundowns. They didn't draw or lose the game. They didn't have the best of games also, but they've come up with 3 points. So it really tells you a lot about a team like that. It can be on the worst, but if given the chance, the opposition don't take their chances, then a team like that can just get any chance and get away with the points and move on. So what I'm trying to say is Sundowns, is the best team in South Africa by far as of yet, based on the structure and the foundation that they've built over the past few years. So it would really take a while for other teams in the PSL to actually match that standard, to be honest, because Sundowns is already far ahead compared to other teams. So yeah, that's my take on it. Yes.
I think, guys, you've said a mouthful. Page have said, you know, Sundowns they've been building over the years, and I think Tshepang has spoken about that. You know, what I notice about Pirates, they've changed many players. Shonga is not there anymore, you know, and new players have come in. Page, as a player, that does destabilize the team. When the player that you used to play with and then happens to leave, now somebody comes, you know, you still want to. We see it with Barcelona; they are still struggling because people like Suarez have left. You know, some of them, yes, were dead wood; they were supposed to leave. Does that have an impact when people that you used to play with them they leave and then new players come in?
I can say yes, I can say no. Look at exactly what happened at Pirates. At Pirates, they went out to buy the number 9, which is stronger. He came in there and played for one season. Then the next thing, he left the team because of there were another foreign quota that must come in. Then they had to sacrifice him to go and there to TTM whatsoever in the team. Then yes, it does destabilize the team, but on the other hand, it does improve the team. Look at Sundowns. They've got players, Erasmus that came in and Sholodina, which they are playing well. Then when you compare the two, this one they are new, they came in, they boost one another. They have a point to prove. But on the other hand, when you look at Paris, they are busy changing all. Then there is another trend that is coming in football and people don't realize that. These teams now, they are trying to play without a number 9. And Sundowns is doing that. Barcelona is trying that. Liverpool is doing that. Man City is doing that. Because of what? There are no number 9 anymore that can play because of it's easy to mark a number 9. It's very easy. Then if you can check exactly all those teams that I've mentioned to you, even if you can watch Liverpool today, you'll never find them playing with number 9. Everybody is unpredictable. Anybody can score. And Chiefs used to master that very well. I don't know what happened. Also at Pirates, they were doing that. Remember when they were using the late gift Leremi, when they were using that Villagaz boy, Steve Leculia.
Yeah.
All of them did not have a number 9. They never had a number 9, but they were scoring goals. And that's why it's difficult now to stop Sundowns because of, if you can check, they have loaned all their number 9s. They have loaned all of them. Then that's how they are flowing because of, without a number 9, you attack from nowhere. They call them the butterflies. Hence, they can strike anywhere. You cannot mark them because of once you mark them, you answer to your defense. You go deep in the middle. That's where they are. They come to you running. They score. Then if you check also Pirates, Mundell number 39, I think he's trying to be a number 9, and it's not going to work for them. If maybe they can copy without playing with the number 9, Pirates can score a lot of goals.
Yeah, no. I hear. Let's move now to Europe quickly. But before I go there, I just want to ask you this question, Paige. Are we not going to see the repeat of Leicester City in England, which moved from the Championship all the way to the Premier League and end up taking the league? Here I'm referring to Morocco Swallows, our next door neighbor here. Are we not going to see that?
So I don't know, but I'm saying quality, that's not going to happen. That one is not going to happen. As long as Pirates is still trying their best, as long as Sundowns is still on top there, Swallows is going to fade as we progress because of now they started well, which is good for everybody. Then they will fade because of they don't have a caliber of players that can sustain them up until maybe the game number 26, 24. Then that is my take. That is my take.
Okay. These guys have been asking them these questions. Maybe the one person to ask that is Tshepang, because he's coming for the first time. Tshepang, are we going to see the repeat of what Leicester did in England from the Championship to the Premier League and ultimately winning the Championship? I'm referring to Moroka Swallows.
Yes. No, I think it's possible. It's possible. We can't write them off because now we're judging Morocco's say Swallows based on how they started off. But as yes, Mr. Mahlangu is actually right also in the fact that we don't think, it doesn't seem like it has the squad depth to actually carry momentum until maybe game 24. So it will depend on the players basically in the second round of the league. So that would actually say a lot in the second round of the league, because second round of the league, most of the time, it's a give and take. So you can't afford to drop points. You can't afford to actually slack. So that's when you actually be tested on round 2, whether are they able to maintain that momentum or not. So yeah.
Okay. And then while we are still there, I want to ask Page again. Page apparently has moved on a little bit. I wanted to ask this question. What's your take about Bloemfontein Celtics? Page, what do you think about Bloemfontein Celtics? Do you think Bloemfontein Celtics is going to surprise a lot of people this year?
Yes, the Celtics is picking up very well. Then if you look at the youngsters that they are having there, they are playing very well. That is a team that can challenge Sundowns, not for the league, but only to disturb them, to match them pound for pound when it comes to playing football, because they've got very good players that are not scared, that they can play, that are playing the football, positional football that we know that was played by Golden Arrows when it was coached by Muti before and Man. Yes, then maybe if they can, but they are not going to bring in that coach that was fired by Chipa. Then they cannot bring him back. CM is already at Leopard there. But they will be better than last year. And I saw them in the MTN final. They were not bad. They are playing a very good football. They are playing a very good football.
All right. I'll tell you one thing. Today we'll never do the European football. Tshepang, I really apologize. I know you wanted to talk about Barcelona, but we'll talk about that on Friday. On Friday, we'll make sure that we talk about European football. And big up to Arsenal. They've done very well. I see that they've been revived. And I can tell you, like I said, Roy, they must keep Arteta. They must keep Arteta. Man United, they must keep Solskjaer. And then they'll do. Man United is number 2 now. I don't know whether you have noticed that. So we'll talk about that on Friday. But for now, let's talk local football, and so that we are wrapping up. Now, other team locally that we think will be a team to be reckoned with Which one is it? I spoke of Mamelodi Sundowns, Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, of course. These are the big boys. And then what is the other team? We spoke of Morocco Swallows, which are promising. We spoke of Bloemfontein Celtics. I see that Roy has raised his hands. Roy, which other team should we look at?
So I'll leave that question to the other guys. I wanted to comment on Celtics. I so wish the Swallow fans were here. And my point, I knew what I was talking about, inconsistency. And Page has just mentioned something. I said to the guys, there is no other team within PSL that throws in youngsters like Swelele. And when those boys come in, they want to prove a point because they want space. They want the coach to actually take them serious. But their problem is consistency. And if you watch their last game, I couldn't understand really what their problem is, but it goes back to what I said. If whatever they build up on, they must keep on improving or making it better. And I just wanted to speak on that one.
Okay. All right, guys. Any other team that you think will be a force to be reckoned with this year in the PSL?
Saubrey, I think Amazulu to me, they are the sleeping giant for me. After they brought in
Benny. Yes.
Yes, you're gonna see a very, very different Amazulu. Because of Benny to this thing of getting the best out of players. And if you can look at that Cape Town City of then when was Benny a coach then? They were playing very good football. They were attacking most of the time. Then I also like to say all the teams that are being coached by players that were playing in the middle or they were strikers, they will play very good football, unlike teams that are coached by defenders or goalkeepers. You will see defending and all the way, but that flair, then you'll see Amazulu. I'm telling you, gonna come tops. To me, they're gonna be better, be better compared to when it was Dlamini. We don't say Dlamini is a bad coach, but he was put in the deep end, very, 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 very early in his coaching career. And also, it's good because of he saw that and he asked to be relieved of his duty because of that seat was very hot for him. Then you're gonna do very, very good for me.
Are you saying those who have been coached by defenders are including yourself, Page, that you'll be defensive when you have a team?
I was never a defender. I started as a goalkeeper, then I went as a striker.
As a striker at Cosmos, I know at Cosmos, you went as number 9.
Yes, then I went back and played as a defender at Aces in the middle. Then at Sundowns, I was a midfielder. You see, then it was easy for me to do all those things.
Okay. Guys, thank you very much. Remember, it was the first show in 2021, and then I can see that mosquito is giving us problems. So, but thank you, guys. We'll meet again, and then we'll be looking now at the upcoming games and the plays that were played during the week. But thanks, it was very interesting. And then Paige, you brought another element which is quite good. And then on Friday, hopefully we'll be joined by Mangoba, Sheikh's Ngwenya. You were supposed to have joined us today, but unfortunately, he requested that can he join us on Friday. So Paige and Mangoba always be here with us and talk to us. Tshepang, your last words, Bafana? And I'm gonna have you again on Friday.
No problem. It was really an honor, and I'm looking forward to doing the shows with you, sir, and with everyone, all of our guests. And yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity on my side. So yeah, thank you very much.
Ntwentle, ngwaname.
Ngwaneso,
Yeah.
Ntate Mahlangu, ra leboga ntate ma. Thank you for bringing a different element altogether into the show, and we really appreciate your contribution, my brother. We are learning these things on a day-to-day basis, and also Tshepang, Lu and Ntate, thank you very much for your contribution. We really do appreciate everything, and looking forward to be with you again on Friday, guys. And all I can say is that let's carry on and teach our communities about football, and talk about football, talk about the language of football all the way.
Okay,
And something will come up.
Stooms, we are closing now.
No. Thanks, Saubrey. I think we're looking forward to the new season locally and the other leagues. But we hope that COVID is not going to spoil everything, and where all the games are stopped. Let's hope for the best.
We must be positive.
Sure.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.